You know, in our day, we understood that some things just weren't meant to be rushed. A good pot of coffee, a handwritten letter, a marriage. We understood the value of the slow build, the quiet foundation. We believed in things that lasted. The dances Scott and Rylee performed, the foxtrot, the Viennese waltz, they come from that world, a world of structure, of rules, of elegant geometry. You learn the steps, you hit your marks, you create a beautiful, moving picture. It's technical, it's safe. And for a few weeks, that's what Scott and Rylee did. They built a beautiful, technical, safe castle. But art, true, soul-shaking art, doesn't live in the safe castle. It's the ghost that haunts its halls. Look at them here. It's perfect, isn't it? The lines are crisp, the timing is impeccable, the judges loved it, the audience applauded. But if you look closely, right at the end, see that? Scott finishes the routine, he smiles, he takes his bow, but his eyes are searching Rylee's for something, a confirmation. It was perfect, but was it alive? That, my friends, was the moment the ghost first whispered. What happens when the meticulously drawn blueprint of a dance starts to bleed? When the lines blur not from mistake, but from feeling? That's the cliffhanger we left you with, the promise of a storm on their perfect horizon. And let me tell you, that storm had a name. It was called the rumba. Now, for those of you who might not know, the rumba is not just a dance, it's a confession. It's a 3-minute heartbreak set to music. It's the story of love and loss, all in the sway of a hip, the reach of a hand, the connection of two pairs of eyes that cannot look away. The judges call it the dance of love, but that's a polite simplification. It's the dance of raw, unfiltered vulnerability. And for a man like Scott, a man who built his life on control and precision, this was his greatest fear. Not the lifts, not the footwork, but the terrifying prospect of letting us all see inside. I was backstage the day Rylee first showed him the choreography, in a quiet, mirrored rehearsal room with the late afternoon sun casting long shadows. She played the song. It was that beautiful, aching version of "The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face." And she started to move. And Scott just stood there, frozen. It wasn't the steps that scared him. It was the story she was telling with her body, a story of total, devastating emotional surrender. He said to her, "Rylee, I don't know if I can do this. This isn't me." And that brilliant, young, old-souled woman just looked at him and said, "It isn't about being you, Scott. It's about finding the part of you that remembers this feeling. Everyone has it. You just have to be brave enough to let it out." Be brave enough. Isn't that what we're all still trying to be? At our age, we've accumulated so much. Joy, yes, but also loss, regret, memories that can still bring a tear to our eye 50 years later. Scott was being asked to tap into that well, and for days he fought it. He was mechanical. He was going through the motions. He was building the steps, but he was locking the ghost out. The producers were worried. Rylee was patient, but she was worried too. The performance was just 2 days away, and they had a beautiful, empty shell of a dance. And then it happened. The breakthrough. And it didn't happen because of a technical correction. It didn't happen because of a screaming match. It happened because of a story. Rylee, seeing his struggle, turned off the music. She sat him down on the dusty rehearsal room floor, and she told him about her grandparents. She told him about her grandfather, a stoic farmer, who once told her that the greatest moment of his life wasn't the birth of his children or his wedding day. It was the day he first saw his grandmother across a crowded room at a USO dance in 1965. He said, "In that 1 second, my whole life just clicked into place, and I was terrified because I knew I would never be the same." She told Scott, "That's what this dance is. It's that click. It's the terrifying, beautiful moment your life changes direction. And Scott, he just listened. And you could see the walls, brick by brick, beginning to crumble. He wasn't thinking about his hips anymore. He was thinking about his own life, his own moments of profound change, the birth of his child, the loss of his father, the first time he met his wife. He was connecting the dance to the very fabric of his own human experience. They started the music again, and this time it was different. This time when he reached for her, it wasn't to hit a mark, it was a question. And when she moved into his frame, it was an answer. The ghost wasn't just in the room anymore, it was in him. He had become the haunting. And they finished the run-through, and for the first time, there was silence. Not an empty silence, a full, charged, respectful silence. And Rylee, with tears in her eyes, simply said, "That's it. That's the dance." They had found the magic, they had unlocked the emotion, they had done the impossible. The performance was now a promise to keep, not a challenge to fear. They went to bed that night knowing they had something special, something that could very well change the entire competition. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that on the other side of that magical breakthrough, a different kind of storm was waiting, one they couldn't dance their way out of. Because the very next morning, the world shifted in a way no one could have predicted. And it all started with a single ringing phone. And that is where our story takes its most heartbreaking turn. But that is a story for after the break. Don't go away.